So here we have the Xiaomi Mi Pad 3. It's an upgrade over the Mi Pad 2. Well, so Xiaomi thinks, but if you ask me, this is more like the Xiaomi Mi Pad 2C or 2S. Now, why you may ask that? Well, the build is exactly the same, almost, as the Mi Pad 2, but we do have a slightly larger battery, a USB Type-C port now on the bottom, and a new rear camera, 13 megapixels f2.2 aperture. The build quality is great. It is premium full unibody alloy rear housing. So the screens are fully laminated 2048 by 1536 IPS panel. Very familiar one. It looks really nice. It's a great panel with a maximum of 460 lux. Now you will notice that at the top and edges, at least on my unit here, you can see some light leakage where the blue is changing color, just a little bit along there. Now this will vary from unit to unit and is something I do often see. And it now starts and ends with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. No more 16GB configurations, which really wasn't enough storage to begin with. Xiaomi didn't do anything stupid like remove the 3.5mm headphone port on it. Now the sound quality out of this jack is really good, super loud, very clean, very clear, absolutely no complaints with that. The same goes for the two rear firing speakers that blast outwards. They're quite easy to cover up with your hands when you're holding it, but let's have a listen to how they sound. They do sound quite decent. There's one little positive we get to from them switching from Intel to the MediaTek, as the MediaTek supports FM hardware radio. So here you can see I've tuned into a station. So if you're someone that likes to listen to the radio on your devices, then you should be happy having this at least on a tablet, because a lot of tablets don't have FM tuners on them. I've tested the OTG function on this. You can plug in your pen drives. Here I've plugged in a micro SD card and it's working just fine without any problems, with fast transfer speeds too. Now onto a few benchmarks. First up is wireless, so getting very decent speeds here out of the wireless AC that it has on board. Those download speeds, really good. Maximum speeds I do see from my line are the full 300 megabits per second, but only top-end chipsets can get that. And this is coming close, so really good speeds there. Now the range of the wireless AC I find to be fairly decent, but I have seen better from other tablets that normally have a little bit of plastic somewhere for the wireless antenna reception. Anyway, moving on to Antutu. This is 6.2.7 score. It is 81,000. A decent score. However, this really isn't that much faster, if not any faster, than the scores you can see from the Mi Pad 2 with that Atom Z8500. So truly quite disappointing. And here we have the internal storage. So eMMC 5 spec with 260 sequential reads and 120 sequential writes. The 4K randoms also quite good. So not bad. The storage is not going to be a bottleneck. Geekbench 4. These are good scores. Like that multi-core score, fairly decent, and the single core as well. So that isn't the weakness of this chipset. It's more the GPU that it has on there, the PowerVR one. You see that there's a little bit of stutter there with that animation. That's just another thing to do with how the ROM performs. And you can compare it to other devices there, the single core scores. Okay, so it's very well looking at benchmarks and seeing all those fancy numbers. But how does the ROM perform? Well, I find it to be very disappointing. At times, it seems fluid. You can do a bit of multitasking and it's working okay. And then I've just found that, for example, it won't actually work at times, the auto rotation, like now. Look at that. Come on. You give it time, it might come around. Now you're probably saying, hang on, I've got auto rotation lock on. No, it's off. But these kind of things pop up all the time consistently on at least my unit here, while this current ROM it's on. And it's a stable ROM. They released this ROM. And for me, it's an absolute embarrassment. If I was Xiaomi, I would not be happy with this ROM at all. And it really is disgusting how buggy this is. So it does feel quick and snappy when it's working properly. And the brightness also has issues. Auto brightness at times doesn't seem to... Okay, I've got it off at the moment. But when you have it set, not on auto brightness, but on the brightness level, it will now and then glitch. So you'll put it into sleep, pull it out of sleep. So lock it, unlock it, and sometimes that auto brightness just doesn't seem to go where you want it to, or you increase the brightness to have it only to start dulling the screen is another bug. There's just so many bugs, and when it comes to gaming, wow, that's where it gets even worse. It's down to luck whether the game you want to run will actually run for you or play, because here, this is Asphalt Extreme, which still doesn't work. I did try the developer ROM, by the way. A lot of people saying, well, use the developer ROM, it'll have bug fixes and then it should all work fine. No. So you've really got a 50-50 chance that's going to happen, cause you to have an epileptic fit, it'll crash, sometimes it locks up the whole tablet. I've also seen the UI completely crash and reload itself, probably about 3 times in the week I've been using it. And yes, as mentioned, this ROM is unacceptable. Not good at all, and the main reason why I don't recommend getting this tablet until all of the bugs are ironed out with the ROM. And here's another little bug here. You can see that something weird's going on with the notification bar there. Something's glitching away. Can't say I've ever seen this before on any ROMs. So to show you Chrome performance here, you can see scrolling there, a little stuttery. Oh, look at that lag just then. Not as smooth as it should be. So, while 16:9 content might not be the greatest because you get some heavy, massive borders due to the 4:3 aspect ratio, it is really good, however, for PDFs, comics, ebooks, as I'll show you here. They look really good, and because we do have that really sharp 267 ppi screen, things are very clear, very easy to read, and really ideal for this kind of use. Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom. There is one strength of this tablet, and that is the battery life. You can get around 8 to 9 hours. Now I've been playing games of World of Tanks here, Clash of Clans, Chrome, a lot of Chrome. I've been streaming in YouTube, and I've got at the moment, you can see, around 32% left. And I'll just bring up GSAM battery monitor just to show you here that the screen on time, hopefully you can see that, is almost 6 hours. And I have approximately 3 hours left. My other cycles of the battery have been just over 8 hours. And I do believe that if you tweak down the screen brightness, because my setting, I tend to have it quite high, that you should be able to get 10 hours even. And I do think that 10 hours of web use at least, something very light. Now gaming, if you're going to be gaming, then you can cut that battery time in half to around 4 to 5 hours of continuous gaming. But still, I do think that the battery life here is quite decent for a tablet, and you should definitely be able to make it through a full day. Now, charge times are rather slow. It took over 5 hours to fully charge it using the stock charger from having the battery right down to 10%. Now, plugging in my quick chargers I found that it doesn't charge it any faster, so it doesn't support any form of quick charging whatsoever as far as I can tell. Now, games that do run, like Modern Combat 5 here, they run okay, but you do see the occasional frame rate dip, a little bit of lag here and there. After 30 minutes of gaming, the tablet does get quite warm to the touch. At the moment, it is only around 32-3 degrees. The highest I have seen it get is 36 degrees. So the front-facing camera is f2.2, 5 megapixels, and the image quality is alright. Now here's a very quick sample from my unboxing video, and you see that it does tend to over-sharpen quite a lot. The same goes for the rear camera. A lot of over-sharpening, only 1080p resolution maximum, even though it is a 13 megapixel sensor. Now photo-wise, again, these are more samples that I used from my unboxing, but you can see that the images that it captures, they're actually not too bad for a tablet. Okay, so quickly to summarize that, I don't see this as a true upgrade at all over the Mi Pad 2. Personally, I would buy the Mi Pad 2 over this one any day, and even the i5 Mini 4S that I have here, which is a 7.9-inch tablet. This one is around 120 US. Even with half the RAM, it's still better because it has a stock ROM on there. It's faster and it can play all of the games. Maybe not as smooth and fluid because it's lacking a little bit of RAM there, but the stability of this ROM is truly disappointing. It is really bad. It's awful. I can't believe that they released a ROM. Okay, if they had to push out Android 7, why did they have to give us such an unstable ROM? It would have been better to release an Android 6 based MIUI 8 ROM that was stable and not this rubbish that they have given us. Now I'm sure as time passes, they're going to iron out all of those bugs, they're going to improve things, they're going to push out lots of updates, and later on it will be a fairly decent tablet. It does have very good hardware, the speakers sound great, a great screen on it, excellent build quality, but I just don't see why they really released this. They should have just come up with the Mi Pad 2S. This one with just more RAM and a few refinements, because really that's what it is. End of the day, this is not a proper upgrade. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you did like it, you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and I do hope to catch you back with more up and coming videos.